Hi, I'm Willie Williams, and welcome to this latest episode of the Mentally Healthy Show. Today, I've got a great guest with us, Obi Onido. Obi has come in to tell us a little bit about his story, his background, his family dynamics, and what has led him to be here today. Obi,
Yes,
welcome to the show.
thank you.
Really great to have you.
Thank you.
So, I like to start these shows by just asking my guests to just tell us a little bit about who they are, where they grew up,
Mm,
what's their career, that sort of thing. So,
mm.
so we get a feel for who you are. So who's Obi?
Yes. Who's Obi? Um, I'm a father of three, a 17-year-old, two 5-year-old twins. I'm a married man. I am of a Nigerian background, and so some of my formative years up to the age of 13 were in Nigeria, growing up there. Um, Sadly, my parents were separated at a young age, but I still had like an amazing childhood from a mother who just kind of fed love and support and
Nice.
resilience and all those kind of things that you want from a parent who's making it all happen on her own. And my background is in youth work, so a lot of my work was been working with young people on the streets, of local areas of North London and East London. And currently, I am a careers leader at a sixth form school.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So do you have any siblings?
I do. I have four siblings, three older sisters and a younger brother.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're a careers advisor, you said.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So let's jump in. So your parents, you said, split up when you were quite young, and
Mhm.
from the conversation we've had, that had quite a big impact on
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I wanted to have the conversation with you today, because I think some of the things that you're going to speak about into relation to
Mm.
your father
Mm.
is something that a lot of us can identify with,
Yeah.
and the impact it may have had. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about that family life
Yeah.
and how things went with your father and such like.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I use the term split up, but like essentially, like my parents were in Nigeria. Like people at the time, I can't speak for now because I haven't lived in Nigeria for so long. But people at the time could be married to more than one wife. My dad had two wives, my mum being his first wife. And they were married. And so he spent all of his time. He lived in a separate part of the country from us, and so he essentially kind of brought up his children there, and maybe saw us very, very, very randomly.
Did you know?
Um,
Can I ask? Did you know that he had a second wife and a second family?
yeah, we did.
Right.
So we would sometimes go on holiday there. Even my mum would make sure, as a dutiful mother did, that we had contact with our father.
Hmm.
And she would send us there purposely on holiday to spend time with our dad. Even though there was essentially no relationship, like we would go there, and my dad wasn't one. I don't even know how to describe him really, because he didn't really relate to us. We would go there. There was a driver that would take us places. My older sister lived with him, and so my older sister would maybe look after us, but there wasn't a conversation. There wasn't a quality spending time with
Mm.
event that would happen even when we were there. So it was never like some sense of relationship being built, even if we were there.
Okay.
Um,
So can I just ask, because
yeah,
you said that your mum was his first wife.
yeah,
So without understanding how it would work,
yeah,
I would have thought that he would have been living with the first wife and the first
yeah,
family, as
yeah,
opposed to the second. So
yeah.
was that normal in that?
I genuinely don't know any. Like, I think there's a whole backstory that my mum has kind of shared with us growing up. Was like my dad wanted a son. My mum had three daughters before me. Um, and my dad had then moved on to another
Hmm.
wife because he didn't have a son with my mum.
Hmm.
Subsequently got married to this lady, and then my mum then subsequently had a son. Right, it made no difference because he was already married to this woman, and life had actually just moved on for him.
Okay.
So I think there was an element of that happening as to what led to
Hmm.
the second marriage occurring. But like in terms of our relationship, it was just
So did they split up when you were quite young? Do you remember him being in the house with you,
I,
or
I don't even have any memories. I have this very visible thing of him just not being there.
Okay.
But when he was there, he was there, because my dad was also very kind of loud and proud, and when people were around, you knew my dad was. When my dad was around, you know, people, people, his friends would be there. He was, like man of the people. There'll be drinks flowing, there'll be laughter,
A people
all that kind of
person.
stuff. Yeah. Which was incredible for him and his people, but like that time was never spent with us. He would be in the house. He would come and stay in the house for maybe a couple of days, but there was no ounce of quality time that I remember spending with him. So it wasn't like he would then take us out to the beach or
Yeah.
like a fast food place or anything like that. None of that stuff was done. It was just
And that was for
literally him.
all of your siblings. It wasn't like it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was not any of us. I think fortunately, like two of my older sisters lived with him, and then my immediate older sister, myself, and my brother lived with my mum. And so for three of us, this was what the norm was. He wasn't ever there. But when I speak to my older sister, to a degree, she talks about just him being a dad. Like she doesn't talk about him in a relational kind of way. Like I guess the way we expect dads to be. They were functional. They did. I provide for the house. I pay bills. You have a roof over your head. You have food in your mouth. It was the way I perceived my dad to be.
I think there was a time when that was what they believe was expected.
Yeah.
The mum gives the nurturing and everything else, and the dad is the provider.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's how he was. He saw it.
Yeah.
So from a mental health perspective, when you were young, because when you were young, would you say that even at a young age you knew this was not the norm?
Yeah.
You felt that?
I felt that, because I remember coming home to my mum at times and saying, well, why does this person get to do this with their dad? And my mum reminds me of this because I think at the same breath, I was fortunate to have my mum's brothers who were like around, but obviously none of them were my father.
So the male role models, but not the father.
Not my father at all. So like, but I was conscious I would see friends whose dads were always kind of picking them up, doing things with them from school, or all those sorts of things were visible to me. And so the comparison was always there for me, where I was like, but I don't get to do this with my dad. Like I said, my mum's brothers were around, but not they weren't there to play dad. They were just there. They lived at my mum's house at times, and other times they weren't there. So it wasn't like a consistent male figure anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and all of this is going up before you're 13 because you came here at 13.
Yeah.
So when you came to the UK, did your dad come as well, or he didn't? So he was left back there.
Yeah, he stayed. He was there with his family. So he didn't come. I think my mum just told him that we were moving to the UK. I'm still not aware how that conversation went, but she just told him what was happening. And then all of a sudden we were here. So yeah, he stayed over there.
Yeah. And what do you know about how your mum was dealing with all of this, in the sense that do you think she was overcompensating for you guys? Because I'm guessing from her perspective, even though two of her children are with him, so they may be getting more, she's seen three of her children virtually being neglected. Yeah. Do you feel that she overcompensated for you, or she just had to? Do you ever think about that?
I'm sure. Like, I think my mum, I think she just did what she had to do to the best of her ability. For context, like my mum, Nigeria was one of those places. Again, I'm talking about it in the early to mid 90s. But fees had to be paid for, education had to be paid for, healthcare had to be paid for, travel, nothing was free. Right? So my mum's hustle was real. Like, I remember significant memories for me. So my mum traveling, she used to travel to a place in West Africa called Liberia, and there was a civil war going on at that time. And I remember being scared as a child and thinking my mom might go there and get killed. But she was hustling for her kids. My mom had a restaurant. My mom drove cabs in Nigeria. And this is, again, early to mid 90s. A woman doing this stuff is not norm.
Common.
Do you know what I mean?
Normal.
But my mom was just one of these people who was like, my children need to be provided for. So I think 100% I would say she overcompensated but in a way that was just about provision. Like, my children need, and I'm the one that's gonna do it, because my dad wasn't.
So how was that for you? Knowing that your mum's doing all of this stuff, and then your dad is
Yeah.
basically she's got to do this because
Yeah.
he's not doing it.
Yeah. It caused a lot of, I think, growing up as a teenager, like there was a lot of anger um, and frustration at just this lack of for on his part, because I just thought there is a role that you have to play that you could play, and even if you're not trying to relate to me or my siblings, at least give my mum money. Do you get what I mean?
Provide.
Yeah,
Even
provide.
if you're going to be the provider, then be the provider.
100%. You know, and so for me, like that was just one of these things that really stood out to me, that caused a lot of just anger and frustration in me as a young person. Because one, I couldn't do anything about it, just be angry and sometimes be in tears and obviously convey this stuff to my mum often, and it would just feel like, where does this end for this woman? And what if the story ends in a way that, you know, God forbid my mum died, and you know, this kind of stuff. You just think of worst case scenarios, and this man gets to live his life with his other family and stuff.
So how did the anger show itself?
Often just in tears, often just in irritation. My mum would always just say, you know, I just never understood her. Like, my mum is a Christian, so I think she would always talk about things like forgiveness and just, he's your dad. Like, I'm like, that carries no weight. You can't say he's your dad. That's weightless in action and responsibility. Like, and I feel like I can say this, but essentially for me, and I didn't phrase it that way, but as you grow older, you just think, well, the man provided sperm.
Yeah.
And he had some children.
Yeah. I've got a family member.
Did you know what I mean?
Who
Like
said that.
that's all he did.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'll say credit where it's due. We lived in a house in Lagos that my dad had built. That's about, but so credit where it's due, and God rest my dad's soul. Like, I wouldn't speak bad of the dead, but like as a teenager growing up, he was obviously alive. The house we lived in was the house he built, but the provision and the realities of Nigeria were the realities of Nigeria still. And so my mom had to deal with all of that on her own. So nonetheless, I think at that point, yeah, it was just often this kind of turmoil of frustration, anger, sadness, and not knowing how this would end, and whether there would be any kind of resolution to it.
Yeah, I'm guessing. So I'm guessing that your mum made the decision to come to the UK for a better life.
100%.
For you guys and for herself.
100%. Yeah.
Do you know, you might not know, if your dad had any resistance to it?
No, I'm not sure actually. I don't know if my mum, I think she told him. I don't think he did. As far as I know, I don't remember a conversation because I was 13 at the time, but I don't remember any kind of visible resistance to us coming. Yeah.
And something I wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Was there any resentment on your part to your siblings? So the two sisters who was with him and his other children. Did you ever think, why have they got this and I haven't?
Yeah, I don't think I did.
That's good.
I think it was all targeted at my dad, to be honest. Like I didn't feel my sisters had anything to do with anything really. I probably felt, as I grew older, and this is me probably in adult life, and when we had these brief moments of reflection that, oh, maybe they had it a bit better. But like when I talk to one of my sisters, she doesn't. Again, she just speaks of him as, a functional man.
Yeah, he was there, right? Anything else.
And in some ways, I was like, would I have felt better living with him? At least he was there, but not having a relationship with him. I don't know the answer to that, because obviously just the thing never happened really for me to know. And I know with my mom, it was nurturing, there was love, there was patience, there was all the kind of emotional connections, like a single mother at that time would make with her children in the midst of all the various jobs she was trying to do. She was still doing that. So yeah, like I know, like I'm grateful for having grown up with my mom, definitely, and grateful now that my siblings who are now here in the UK, my sisters, that we still got that time to grow up and get to know each other.
I was going to say, because there was obviously going to be an element of you not knowing them as much.
Yeah.
So you came here.
Yeah.
When did you go on a journey to reconnect with your dad?
That's a good question. So before we came to the UK, what was interesting was there was a moment in time when my dad basically we basically every holidays you go to your village where you're from, and so my mum had taken us to her village, and my dad then said he would come and pick me up. He came and picks me up. We sat in the car, drove to his village. There was not an ounce of a conversation in the car.
Really?
Um, these memories are so significant for me. And then even when we got there, vague conversations, probably me, I can't tell you that word for word. I remember what kind of questions I asked, but I remember trying to make some kind of conversation with my dad, and not really getting much back. We slept the following morning. A relative, family friend, a man came, was introduced to him as his son. My dad introduced him to him as his son. And then subsequently asked this man to take me around our village. So I'm like, I really don't understand what's going on here. You brought me here,
Mm.
and then you're not taking a responsibility for me while I'm here.
Mm.
Like, why am I here? Like, genuinely, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
If you came to take me from my mom's village, whom she would have fully taken me around. Essentially, we grew up at my mom's village. Every Christmas, we would spend time at my mom's. But this was the one time he intentionally said, "Let me come and take him for a day or two." And then even in that moment, you then don't use the chance to get to know
bond,
me or
yeah,
bond
to
with
bond
me.
with your child.
This man took me around, brought me back to the house. My dad took me back to my mum's. I remember getting back and just crying, angry, shouting, thinking, what was the point of that?
Mm.
Genuinely, like, what was the point of that? You know, so that kind of journey, I think the sad thing was that was probably the last time I saw my dad before he died. So that moment for me was very, I don't know what the word
Significant.
is. It stood out for me because it was just like, even in the moment you get to do the thing you could do, you don't take the chance to do it.
Mm.
And I think I was angry. I was just the usually kind of emotions that come up and everything that I
Frustrated.
thought my dad, frustrated, thinking, we haven't this how have we done this? The one chance me and you have ever had in the whole of my life, and you didn't do it again. And I was thinking, and also I'm the child. I was like, why didn't I do something? It's like, I was a child.
Mm.
Like, why am I the one responsible for this? There's no way I should be
Mm.
responsible for.
And that's what I was
for a
going to
mate to
ask
you.
you,
Yeah,
because what I've learned a lot of time is that there are a lot of time the children or the
yeah,
child does try to blame
yeah,
themselves or think
yeah,
about, is it me why
exactly.
he or she is
Yeah,
doing this or not spending time with me? Is it
yeah,
that I'm not good enough or whatever?
yeah, yeah.
So did you go through that phase?
Yeah, I did. I wondered, like, is it something I've done? Like,
Mm.
which is a weird thing to think when you're a child. Like, and this is obviously pre 13 years old, so I don't know, 8, 9, 10, 11, like those sorts of ages. I'm thinking, why would it be? What have I done? Like,
Mm.
you try and find some kind of reasoning or rationalization of the whole thing, and this doesn't make any sense. Um, for 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 the whole thing, also, around the time, it was this whole thing around men wanting sons and being proud of their sons and all this kind of stuff. And so I was like, also like, aren't you proud of me? Like, I'm actually your first son
Mm.
as well. And it's like, you don't even want anything to do with me. Like, so what is the whole point of being your son if there is no relationship?
Mm.
So there was all this kind of turmoil that just didn't make sense in my head,
Yeah.
like around what should be, what should exist, and just didn't ever seem to happen.
So it is a lot. I can say it's a lot. So you had a lot of anger. So the anger never came out. It never came out in violence,
No,
really, or anything like that.
no.
You internalized it.
Yeah, it was always internalized. My mum would probably see it at most anytime she kind of challenged me. Then there'll be tears, then there'll
Mhm.
be kind of irritation and just me kind of shouting, but never in any kind of, yeah,
Mentally,
yeah.
I mean, as a kid, you might not be able to. Hopefully, you might be able to look back and see. But mentally, how do you think it was taking its toll on you? What ways
Yeah,
did it help? Did it come out in your schoolwork or?
yeah. In ways, I think it started to take shape, and I only realized this as in adult life, where I was like, I don't want to become my dad. Like, I would always try and tell myself, like, when I became a family man, my kids would know that I love them. I would be present. There would be relationship, all of this kind of stuff in the midst of provision and everything I was functionally supposed to do. I would be all of the things that my dad wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that started to take shape through my youth. Like
Right.
I just said, I can't become this man, because for all I'd felt that I couldn't deal with, growing up without him. I was like, why should any child have to deal with this stuff? Like,
Mm.
or not know that their parents loved them, their dad loved them, and and was there for them, all this kind of stuff. So I think that's how it started to take shape within me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you say that the lowest point for you,
Mm.
I'll let you say when it was,
Mm.
but it stemmed.
Yeah.
It all stemmed from the lack of the relationship
100%.
and everything. Yeah.
Yes.
So when you talk about the lowest point that you
Yeah.
got into your life, what was that?
Yeah. So in my first marriage, I we had a we have a daughter. My daughter's now 17. But from that first marriage, unfortunately, there was a point at which my wife at the time asked me to leave the house, and so the relationship, unfortunately, had come to an end.
How
Um,
long have you been together?
we've been together for about 4 years, at the time. My daughter was 2, so really young, small baby, and she and I messed up, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And so my wife at the time asked me to leave the house. And so when I left the house, it all of a sudden just had this kind of overwhelming feeling that I had become my dad. Like it it just kind of, when something like heavy literally just lands on your back, and it's like, I remember being at my mum's house in the fetal position, just kind of curled up and saying, God, what have I done? Like I was in tears, inconsolable. Ah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, my daughter, I just thought I'd let her down,
Mm-hmm.
like significantly. Thank you. This is weird. This is over 15 years ago, and it's still hitting me the same way.
It's gonna.
Ah,
I understand it
it's
myself.
crazy. Yeah. I'd felt I'd let my daughter down
Mm.
significantly. I felt I became my dad.
So do you think that your behaviour, because
Yeah.
you say you screwed up, and you can
Yeah.
either say what it is or you don't need to, but
Yeah.
whatever it was, do you think it stemmed from, or do you feel it stemmed from your dad? And was so it might not have been
Yeah.
directly, obviously,
Yeah.
but the mindset or whatever it was that made you mess up
Yeah.
at the root could have
Yeah.
been your dad and the relationship you had with him.
I don't know. I don't think so. Like I think as I've grown older, I mean, I can take responsibility for my actions, and I think my actions were my actions. It was rooted probably just in selfishness, in um, just being a guy who was newly married, um, and not knowing, not fully grasping that understanding of when you're married, you and your wife are one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because there was a range of different things that I let kind of mess up our marriage. And so I wouldn't blame my dad. I would say, like, essentially, I take responsibility for the things that happened, and it was just youthfulness, selfishness, and a mixture of other things.
Yeah, and I hear
Yeah.
that. And you know what? The only thing I would say to that
Yeah.
is sometimes knowing or attributing
Yeah.
a behavior to something that's gone on
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you're shirking responsibility for it.
Yeah.
We can sometimes explain something
Yeah.
by our past,
Mhm.
but we still have it's still our action.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
we still
Yeah.
one of the things I say, and hopefully it will make a bit of sense.
Yeah.
When we talk about, especially like West Indians or whatever have gone through the slave trade,
Yeah.
and when that's spoken about, and people say, "Well, how can you ever try and blame the way someone's acting today on that?"
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that we're saying
Mhm.
you can excuse any bad behavior because we went through that, but it does make you understand.
Why
What I
that
say to
sits.
people is, if you look at somebody and you look at their great grandparent and they've got a big nose, no one will question
No.
that has followed through
Yeah, it's
generation after
generational.
generation.
Yeah, of course.
But when it
Yeah.
comes down to emotional and psychological stuff,
Yeah.
the moment you try to say,
Yeah.
do you know what I
Then
mean?
people will
Some of
say,
that
no, but that's not the
psychological behavior
case.
could have come generation. They think, no, you're just making an
Yeah,
excuse.
I hear
You see what I'm saying? So what I'm
Definitely.
saying is,
Yeah.
even if your dad had some sort of, you still take responsibility because it was your actions,
Yeah.
but you might be able to understand that because of him, the relationship you had,
Yeah.
that was a contributing factor to you being the way you were or making the decisions that you made.
That's
Do you
true.
know what I
I hear
mean?
that. I can understand
So you're
that.
not
Yeah.
letting yourself off the hook,
Yeah.
but you're making an explanation.
I understand that. Yeah.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
you ended up in that to the point where you were curled up,
Yeah.
thinking that you've let your daughter down, and
Yeah.
my heart will bleed for you just for knowing what that feels like.
Yeah.
What was the next step from there? Because you've come through that now, and as far as I know, we could talk. You're living a much better life. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
How did you come from that? And what? No, let's ask this first.
Yeah.
What was your mental state like at that time?
At that time, man. Yeah, I mean, it was a feeling. It was like one of the worst feelings I just ever had. Like, where it was just like this kind of darkness that you couldn't explain, that just kind of descended on you, and you were like, I can't make sense of this. It was very overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I had any kind of control. Like, I was curled up in my mum's house in 1 minute, another minute I remember just walking from my mum's house along the high road, walked to a friend of mine's house, really good friend of mine. Ended up spending the night there, still in tears, still just kind of in this, and I'm thinking, how did I? This moment where you think, how did I even get here?
Yeah.
But this was somebody I knew I could trust, right? And I spent some time with him and his wife. But just again, this kind of sense of like repeating the same things I'd been saying at my mum's house, still in tears, still just not knowing how to deal with this kind of overwhelming emotion of like, what happens now? What happens to this family that I thought I was trying to build? What happens now to this child who was always supposed to know, like, her dad loved her dad will provide for her dad will be there for her. I couldn't see that. There was just no sense of like a reality where that could be possible, where she could be happy, or where I could be happy in that. So then it was just something I couldn't I couldn't deal with, an emotion I just couldn't explain. Like, it just felt like it was a continuous sense of like infinite period of sadness or whatever.
So,
If there
so
was
you're
any way of
looking. It's like
describing
you're
it.
looking to the abyss, and you can't see.
No, I couldn't see hope beyond
So
that feeling.
one quick question.
Yeah.
Do you think there wasn't any element of self-sabotage in what happened? Do you think there was? Do you feel that you suffer or have found yourself in positions where things might be going right for you, and then you have to, or you do something to mess it up? Did you think that played any part? Because a lot of people I speak to, that sometimes is something that happens, whether it be they don't feel that they deserve it, or something. So when they get it, whatever it is, they then self-sabotage. Do you think there could have been a possibility? You've got a relationship, you're married, you've got your child, so you're building that lovely life, and then you do something to crash it. Did you ever think about that?
No, not really. Like, it was all supposed to work out. It's that kind of thing, isn't it? Like, you get into it thinking, this is beautiful, this is amazing, this is gonna work out. Like,
so it wasn't ever part of you at any point think, I don't deserve this.
No, like, I think
that's good.
It was there was a genuine kind of like enthusiasm, energy, just happiness about the relationship, the marriage, everything that was happening at the time. Like, nothing is perfect, right? Like, there was definitely challenge, but like, it was one of those things where like, I didn't think it was gonna end up that way. I certainly hadn't, like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, as much as I say as a young man, I had thought I didn't want this to happen. You then think, when the thing does happen, didn't plan for this.
No,
This wasn't supposed to. Do you know what I mean? The script wasn't written to, right? So like, it's like, could you have planned better? Like, but what does that even look like?
Mm.
You can say a thought in your head and say like, I don't want this to happen to my family, or I don't want my family to be like this. I don't want to be like my dad. And then the reality is like, when you start messing up, you're like, okay, wait, did you not know like this is how this thing could happen? Like, yes, it was supposed
Yeah,
to be
so
perfect.
you're saying it sort of
Yeah.
came sideways, it came totally out of the blue
Out of the
because
blue.
you hadn't prepared for that.
Yeah.
I get that. So you've ended up at your friend's house.
Yeah.
And what's the journey from there now?
Yeah. So I think it took a long time. I can't tell you like, I think from that point on there were just various moments when, of course, my ex-wife, she was still my wife at the time, then started having to navigate like, you know, my daughter coming to spend time at mine or my mum's, you know, how we would then navigate, you know, drop off to school, because thankfully we didn't live far from each other, so I could still be involved in her life. So I think that was the thing that immediately became visible, that I felt I could still be involved in helping her, helping my wife at the time, and obviously being involved in my daughter's life and still spending time with her. So there was this immediate sense of, okay, there's stuff that can be done here. Like,
was reconciliation ever on your
at the
radar?
time, yeah, at the time, definitely. Like, I think it was us trying to work through the initial kind of breakup. I think at points we even tried to do, like, we had a priest at the church we were going to set us up with some counseling. We went and did that. That didn't work. We went and did some other counseling. That didn't work. And thankfully we were still able to relate to each other, you know, and bring up this amazing, my daughter's 17 now, and I'm thank God for like her life, and genuinely for the relationship her mum and I have been able to sustain to co-parent the amazing girl that she is now. But like, that journey certainly involved loads of tears. The times when my daughter would be brought to mine and she'd be like, but I don't want to go, I want to go to mummy. She'll go in the car and be with her mum in the car and be crying to come back to me. And then, so we were all just crying.
Yeah.
There was just tears everywhere. There'll be tears as she's coming back in the car. Her mum, I'm like, this is a mess. Like, you know, so it was all of this stuff. So there was that whole journey.
But you could smile about it now, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
back
yeah,
down
yeah,
and so you
yeah,
can smile about it.
Definitely. But yeah, that whole thing was definitely kind of a time that I wouldn't wish on anyone. And thankfully, yeah, we were able to kind of work it out to where we are now.
So what I want to, like, for viewers who are going through, because there are people always going through this, can you sort of describe the best you can what that journey was to get to where you are now? Because you're married again, and you've got twins, which must be a handful. But, you know, and also you've got, like you said, you've got a 17-year-old daughter who, the way you speak about her suggests that she is lovely, and as much as possible she's been, or as little as possible she's been affected by it. I'm sure everyone was affected and will always have some effect for it, but you and your ex have been able to minimize it, it sounds like, the effects. So what was that mental journey and the healing journey that made you be able to be confident enough to go back out there and say, okay, you know, I'm going to open myself up to another relationship and blah, blah, blah. And was it one of those where you said, right, this time I'm going to do it different, or what was that journey like?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think it was a series of things. For me, I think it was a point at which I recognized that I probably had to just let go. I remember, like, for a period of time, I was trying to get my ex-wife back, and I would be willing to do anything. Like, of course, there was also an element of doing it for my daughter, which was the genuine thing. Like, I was like, she would say, okay, can you look after her? I need to be out, or whatever. And I would come and stay at the house we shared once together and look after, put my daughter to bed, wait for her to come back and leave. So there's a period of time of just like doing things like that, partly for my daughter, but also partly in the guise of trying to get back with my ex-wife at the time.
Back together.
Yeah. And genuinely, like, over time, after the counseling attempts that we both had and talking through things, and I think just this realization that she had moved on, and this wasn't something that we could work out. I had then subsequently started dating, um, with the intention of thinking, okay, I need to actually move on from this relationship. But I know significantly my wife now helped me in acknowledging like where I was at, in terms of relationship, saying, okay, you say you moved on, and just as we started dating, she reminded me like, well, you're still not divorced from this woman, like, and we can't be dating like this. Doesn't make sense. So we're still early days for us dating, and so I think there was also that element of, okay, now we can get that sorted, because we've gone through the process of dealing with counseling. We've talked. We all know where we both separately stand now. And she had moved on. I was then moving on. And I think there was also now probably a way that I was somewhat confident about the way I was parenting my daughter. So significantly, I think, and the relationship that her mum allowed me to have with her, my daughter, and just the way we were able to work together. So all of those things kind of lined up for me. It had to make sense, because if the worst thing I think in all of everything I've said is if I didn't have a relationship with my daughter, I think that could have just torn me to pieces. Like, none of that stuff would make sense to me. Like, if my child didn't and I didn't kind of have that time together. So it was a whole journey. Obviously then got divorced. And my wife and I, and then subsequently started planning towards marriage, got wedded, and we are here years later. But yeah, a series of different things, from counseling to accepting to just acknowledging where everybody's at, to then deciding, okay, let's move on to live our separate lives.
So would you say, because they say hindsight is a great thing,
Yeah.
was there any point where you thought to yourself, like, once things were not going to get back together,
Yeah.
do you ever look back and think, okay, to be honest, I'm not sure whether or not we would have made it anyway? Do you think that had what hadn't happened, you and her would have probably made it? Or do you think that you realize as you got older that, you know what, maybe we were not
compatible
to grow old together?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think, how people often say, like, things happen for a reason, right? Like, the thing I know is that I'm thankful for the life I have now. I'm thankful for my children. I think I genuinely believe in the thing that the phrase that kind of says we are a sum of the life that we've lived. So everything I am now is everything I'm thankful for. Like, as much as I would say, and everything about my dad has made me sad and frustrated me and it angered me, I know that I am the dad I am because of my experience with my dad. I don't think I could be the dad I am if I didn't go through. You just never know, but like, I don't think I could be.
So what you're saying is, you pulled the positive out of a bad situation. You've been able to find a positive.
100%.
Which is really, really good.
Yeah.
So, your daughter.
Yeah.
How is she? How is your relationship with her? Bearing up everything. I mean, I'm hoping I know the answer to this based on the person I see sitting next to me. But how is she, and how is your relationship with her?
Yeah, it's amazing. I think one of the more recent kind of things that's occurred in recent weeks is she called me and said, "Dad, we've got to book taster days for university now." And I said, "What?" My brain went, "It's that time of her life. What is happening here?" These kind of moments that, the crossroad moments of life, like, and we have such a relationship. I mean, we've talked about various things, like from time of the month to boys that she likes, to the relationship we have now is one that I love. I've grown up, I came to this country as a 13-year-old Nigerian boy. By all means, I'm more British than I am Nigerian now, but still retain some of like the African mentality of like how you're supposed to be brought up. You don't have boyfriends before you finish school. When you get a job, then you can get your first boyfriend. Like, all of that kind of stuff is in my head. And then I have conversations with my daughter, who is part Trini, part Nigerian, mostly British. And I'm like, okay, so this is a conversation that we need to have. So we haven't.
You have to parent them different.
100%. I can't be like, do I tell you to do?
Yeah.
Also, you don't live with me.
Mm.
So I'm parenting from afar and co-parenting with her mum. So we have an amazing relationship. I thank God for it. Like, again, I'm not painting it to be one that's been easy. There have been tears, there have been disagreements. There have been moments where like her mum and I will disagree about something around my daughter. And ultimately I know we both have her interests at heart.
Best interest at heart.
And I have to figure out a way of getting to the middle ground without forcing my opinion, but still being honest about how I feel.
Yeah.
Right. So we both accept that we don't agree on the same things, but we both know that this young lady is our priority. So that's what I'm thankful for, that we're still able to navigate that. And then my daughter is brilliant. Like, she's doing A levels at college now, predicted really good grades, like it's a very aspirational young lady. And so like there's all these kind of good things that in the midst of all of that, I would say like there are moments when she has anxiety and other things like that, but that is partly growing up as well as a young person, right? And of course the kind of family she's growing up in will play a part in that. I can't ignore that, but understandably I think it is for who she is as a person. I'm thankful.
I think that's really brilliant.
Yeah.
So I think we're almost at the end of your journey, but something that I think is significant. Having gone through all of what you have, you sounds as though both you and your ex have grown a really lovely, beautiful child. So, you know, you can say whatever had gone on, we have achieved this.
Yes.
Why? And you might be a silly question in some sense, but why, when you were talking before, knowing where you are and how it all ended, and it's ended really good, we could say, why did it make you so emotional before that brought out tears from you just now? Knowing where it's all ended, you know.
Yeah.
What do you think was going on there?
I think it was this kind of sudden realization of feeling I'd become my dad. Like, you know, it was everything that felt like it was coming to a head in that moment. Like, I remember the conversation being so surreal. To this day, I remember it was a November evening. She came home, said, "You need to leave." I was kind of sat in shock, and then said, "Okay." Didn't grab much stuff, just left the house. And then all of a sudden at my mum's house was just kind of like, oh wait, okay, wait, what? What's happening now? Like, have I just become my dad? Like, the emotion I think comes from a place of just like, it was probably something I didn't have to deal with until that moment. You know, it often feels like, you know, everything is going good until it doesn't go good, and you're like, this thing that's been an underlying motivation has always kind of been there or deep down in your mind. And then when this thing happens now, you then realize this is the thing I've never wanted to be. It comes back, you know, from being a teenage boy to being an adult man. So that realization, I think the emotion came from a place of, just the realization that I'd become this man, and that I didn't want it, and I didn't want to be him, and that with all of that came the responsibility that I felt like I would be messing up, like losing everything as a father, losing everything as a husband.
So when you talk about it now, like we're sitting here now, and you talk about it, it still brings back some real painful memories.
It does,
yeah. But obviously you got to live in the fact that, you know, life happens.
100%.
Yeah. Remember what I think we spoke before once, and someone said to me is that life is what happens when you're busy making plans.
Yeah, definitely.
So life happened to you, but where you are now, listen to where you talk about your daughter. You know what I mean? You've come through it, and it's made her. So thank you. I think that's a really good story to share.
Thank you.
And I even know people today going through some of what you've gone through. But you're here to say that you can come out the other end.
100%.
You can come out the other end and end up with a beautiful child that's doing things, living her life, and very aspirational, which is what you said. And I hope she hears this. So,
Yes.
Obi, thank you.
Yes. You
Thank
better
you.
hear it. She better hear
Yeah,
it.
thank you for coming.
Thank you, really.
So,
Yeah.
I always like to give people an opportunity to talk a little bit about
Yeah.
what they're doing. So, I know that you're
Yes.
on, as well as doing what you are,
Yes.
you're also doing personal
Yeah,
training.
so I'm training to be a personal trainer at the moment, and so I'm going through my level 3 qualification at the moment, and so yeah, of course, looking for people to work with. I'm based in North London and work around North or East London as well.
So, what
Yeah.
are you? How can people find you? Have you got sort of any of social media stuff?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
let them know.
I tell them no. So I'll tell them. So yes, _fitness on TikTok, and _fit on Instagram.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Obi, thank you for coming
you.
in. I really, really enjoyed having that conversation.
Yeah.
So, guys, thank you for joining us on another episode of the Mentally Healthy Show. Until next time, have a mentally healthy day. Bye.